Hi students, today's recipe is not an accessible recipe. This is for a student who said to me, Miss, when are we going to make some sweet things? We've made all savoury. So this is just an extra recipe if you want to make this at home. And I chose a recipe that I thought would be quite easy to do and you could share with all the family, and certainly if you've got younger siblings, they will love you for this. So today's recipe is the best chewy chocolate chip cookies. Now for this recipe, you need flour, salt, chocolate chips, sugar, soda, an egg and some flour. Oh, I think I said flour. Okay, so you have a bowl ready. Into your bowl, you whisk together. Now, you can do this using a mixer if you've got one at home. If not, I'm going to do it using a balloon whisk, just so as you can see that everything that I do in my kitchen can be done by hand. Okay, so in this large bowl, I'm going to put the sugar. Now, I've also put the salt inside here. You can see it's 1 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar into there. Now, when you're doing the brown sugar, pack it in. It's 3/4 of a cup. If you just pour it in, you could get to 3/4 of a cup. When you pack it down, it might only be 1/4. So be very careful that you do pack it down to get to 3/4 of a cup. Okay, I need that again. And then you will need 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. Oh, and you will need 115 grams of butter. Now the butter has to be melted, so you can just melt that in a microwave using a plastic container, of course, a microwave safe container. While that's melting, I'll just mix in my sugar. Okay, now the recipe says mix it all together until there's no lumps. Now, because you've packed that brown sugar in, you want to sort of get out all the lumps that you've put in there. One of the best sugars to use is this product called Muscovado. Okay, it's one of the best sugars you can buy. You can get it in Woolies and Coles. Can be a little bit more expensive than normal brown sugar, but you could also use just the normal brown sugar. It does the same job. Sugar is sugar. Okay. Now, into that, I've got to put I'm going to break my egg in this bowl. Okay, remember to have your scrap bowl on the bench if you don't have a bin, and your vanilla extract. And vanilla, I need a teaspoon. So this is my 1/2 teaspoon. So I'm going to do 2 of these. So you essentially put the dry ingredients into the bowl and then whisk in all the wet ingredients. Now my butter is nearly melted, maybe about 15 seconds more and I'll have it done. I've also preheated my oven, which is essential. It hasn't reached its maximum heat as yet. So when you turn on your oven, give it at least 5 minutes so it can reach the the temperature, and in this case it's 180 degrees. So I've melted my butter, I've got put all the butter in there and mix that around. This is the easy part, just mixing. Oops, that's straight into my sink. Now the recipe does say until a paste forms with no lumps. So that's what it looks like. You can see that. Again, I need a camera person. Somebody can come and look over my bowl while I don't have to stop. So then it says, whisk in the egg and vanilla, beating until light ribbons fall off the whisk and remain for a short while before falling back into the mixture. So into there. Goes a lighter colour as well, you will notice. And what they mean by the ribbons, if you lift it up, it should be falling quite easily back into the bowl as such. Put my whisk in there. Now it says to whisk or sift in the flour and baking soda. Now I need 1 1/4 cups of flour. Remember to sift your flour. Okay. If that'll go across there. Maybe. Yep. So 1 1/4 cups. Remember to clean up as you go. And this, because this is a fun recipe, I think your whole family is going to love it. So remember, when you're measuring, give that a tap and get down. I've seen people get down and do the measuring properly, which is good. So that's 1 cup. Only do 1 cup at a time. Now it says to fold in, so make sure that you put all the flour in first before you start mixing it. And don't over mix. There's a certain amount of gluten in flour, and if you over mix it, your cookies will not be as chewy. They won't be as nice as they would be if you don't over mix. So that's 1 1/4. Flour away. Again, just tap your sieve, give it a wipe with a dry cloth, and it can go straight away. And then of course, clean up my mess. Now it did say, oh, and the baking soda. So I need 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. Also should have been your soda. I'm just going to sift that with my hand because I put the sift away. And there was 1 lump in there, which is good. Nut it out. If you hear that beeping, that means my oven is ready to go. Okay, so in here I'm going to fold that around with a spatula. Remember, we're not over mixing. Now, I've come around this side of the bench to show you that when you're folding, you go around the mixture and through the middle, around the mixture and through the middle, and keep doing that until all your flour has been incorporated into the dough. So round the outside and through the middle. That's what's called folding the mixture in. So you keep doing that until all your flour has been incorporated into the dough. Then the recipe asks you to add your chocolate chips. So in here I've got, it says 4 ounces of milk or semi-sweet and 4 ounces of dark. I've just used a mixture of chocolate that I had left over in the cupboard, and I had white chocolate, I had little chocolate buds, yeah, and the white chocolate I've got is quite, the melts. Make sure you use cooking chocolate and not normal chocolate, so it doesn't have the same effect. Okay, so you're actually adding all that to your dough mixture and mixing that around as well, getting all the chocolate mixed into the actual dough. Now, I will stop the video to chill this for 30 minutes. It says 30 minutes at least. If you can leave it longer, that will be good, but 30 minutes, and it should all be coming together now. So it should all form one big lump in the middle. So that's all good. Just once you've got your chocolate chips evenly spaced out, put it into the fridge and leave it there. for the flavours basically, and for the gluten to relax in the flour. You also need to, while that's in the fridge, you need to prepare your tray. You remember that I put baking paper, I put water underneath so as the baking paper sticks to the tray, and then you don't have to wash the tray, of course, as well. And I also went in search of a small container that I'm going to use to measure the biscuits onto, or the cookies onto the tray. You can do that using an ice cream scoop as well. If you have one of those ice cream scoops that has the squeeze at the end where you can push the mixture into the ice cream scoop. But be prepared, once your dough is ready, you're going to be using your hands a lot, so make sure they're clean. And please, everybody, make sure that you're wearing your apron and you're wearing fully enclosed leather shoes. I'll come back with the rested dough. Okay, my dough has rested in the fridge for half an hour. I'm ready to start making my cookies and putting them on the tray. I think I forgot to mention before, it was 8 ounces of both milk and dark chocolate. Now, we don't use ounces. This is an American recipe. We use grams. So for a rough calculation, it's 1 ounce to 25 grams. So you're really looking for about 4 ounces is 100 grams. It's just over, because the exact measurement, something like 1 ounce to 27 point something of a gram. So it's about 100 grams of each, so about 200 grams in total, maybe a little bit extra. So you could put in maybe 210, 220 grams of chocolate. Or if your scales does the calculation, if it does ounces as well as grams, which mine does, then you can measure it out exactly as per the recipe. Taking my container, I'm just putting as much into that container, and then I'm going to scoop it out. Now that gives me a measurement of what the cookie, oh, this is going to be quite a big cookie actually, but anyway, it is what it is. So make it round. It will spread once it's on the tray. So just make sure it's flat, get everything out, give it a good roll. And it says it makes 12, so let's see how we go. If you're using big buds like I am, big melts, it might be a good idea to make sure that you have those evenly distributed in your cookies. And if you run out, make sure they're quite wide apart, because they will, as I said, they will come down and spread across that tray. I do apologise, I had a phone call come through, and seeing as I'm filming using my phone, I had to stop filming. So I hope this video wasn't a bit disjointed, but the last time I spoke to you, I think I was rolling the cookies or the biscuits into balls and placing them on the tray. So I ended up with 2 trays because I had a bit much mixture. I put them in the oven for 13 to 15 minutes, and as you could see, this was the end result. Now those ones I think are a bit big. I might have made them just a little bit smaller. In fact, I did, with the leftover mixture. So that's probably the ideal size for them. Let them cool a little bit in the tray before you attempt to move them off the tray and onto your cooling tray. That's probably a perfect size, that small one. But you know what it's like. If you enjoy big cookies, then you've got them. So that's the chocolate chip ones. You can see by this one here, those large chocolate melts do tend to remain and retain their shape. Oh, my mouth's watering. I'm looking forward to one of these already. So my next job is I'm going to make a cup of tea. I'm going to enjoy one of these cookies. Now, as I said before, this is not a recipe that you have to do. This is the recipe that if you want to do it, because it's a sweet one. There you go. Remember, while your cookies are in the oven, you clean up your kitchen, okay? And I want you guys to thank your parents for filming for you in all those other recipes that parents have been filming and being your extra pair of hands, I have noticed. Thank you, parents. And thank you, students.